Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of this live stream. My name is Luciano, and today, as always, I am with Roberto, which you can
So
see here with an amazing rusty background, AI generated, right?
yeah, obviously, why not? I'm not
So,
an artist.
well, I think you are a prompt artist because looks
A
pretty good.
prompt? Oh God, the prompt artist, kill me, kill me now.
Okay. So if you're new to this channel, what we do is lots of different things, but the common theme is learning Rust. So we have been doing Advent of Code, we've been doing some games with very, very silly games, but somewhat functional. And we've also been doing some side projects with Rust and Lambda and serverless on AWS. And recently we started a series where effectively we are using CodeCrafters, which is a website that allows you to do something like coding challenges, but instead of doing standalone coding challenges, you actually learn how to build a realistic software. For instance, you can build your own version of SQLite, your own version of Redis, your own version of Git. And what we decided to do as a challenge is to implement a BitTorrent client. So we have been doing this for a while. I think this is episode number 6. If you're watching this on Twitch, we have all the previous recording on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you should be in a playlist where you can find all the other episodes. So we have officially completed the main sequence of challenges. There is like
Yeah.
an extension. We are not going to do the extension just yet because there is some refactoring work we want to do. We noticed that there are some edge cases where our code might fail. So we have, I think, an idea of why that might be, but we'll be trying to do the refactoring and figure things out a little bit better today. Hopefully, during the next hour, we'll have a much better version of our implementation. I'm gonna drop the link to CodeCrafters if you're curious. This version will give you a 40. This link will give you a 40% discount if you want to buy a subscription. So check it out, and hopefully you'll find that useful. Okay, where do we start, Roberto?
Eh, Yeah, we last time we arrived at the point of being able to download a full file, so downloading all the pieces of a file. The edge cases are that sometimes we time out. We time out when the file is big, because our logic is just connecting to one peer, only one, even if torrent offers us multiple ones.
Hmm.
And we are downloading the first bit of it, then downloading the second bit of it, and the third. In our case, we in our text example, we have three pieces that compose our file, and that could be done in a more parallel fashion. We could parallelize even more because even the single piece is downloaded in blocks. So we could parallelize down to the block, but I think we can start parallelizing down to the single piece at the moment. And instead of connecting only to the first peer of the list of peers, we can try to connect to all the peers that are in the torrent file that is passed to our application. And that could be a, a first refactor.
Hmm.
One idea was to have a queue, put the piece to download, the data of this piece to download in the queue, and a worker then taking the task from the queue and executing it. One stuff that we need to be aware of is that the peer is not letting us to connect more than once
Hmm.
from the application. So we can have one worker per peer from what we saw last time. We tried already to parallelize this to make it faster. But again, we were just connecting to the first peer of the list. And doing that was giving us back failed connection or the server dropped the connection and so on. So we were not able to use multiple connection against the same peer. So we have to come out with something smarter than that.
Yeah, I was doing a quick search while you were describing all of that, and it looks like that certain BitTorrent clients they actually have an option to decide whether, as a user, you want to allow multiple connections from the same IP. So I guess the CodeCrafters implementation doesn't allow that, and that's why we were probably seeing some failures. But I suppose it's an implementation details that might be available or not, depending on the clients you're working with.
So yeah, in our case, let's not try to push the luck and try to connect multiple times to the same peer. Let's try to round robin through the peers. All
Mhm.
the peers should have all the pieces of the file that we are looking for, so we don't have to take in account if the part that we want to download is available or not. It will always be there. This is another little bit that we are getting for granted because of the CodeCrafters example and exercise
Mhm.
itself. But if you are going to write a proper torrent client, you should also check what was called the bit. What was called one? The bit field.
Oh yes, Bitfield.
Yeah, we are not checking the bit field. The bit field basically tells you all the pieces of the WU file that the peer has. So obviously you can't take work for a peer to download a piece if the peer doesn't have it. But yeah, in our case, we could just put the message back in the queue, and another worker is coming up and taking it if we are
hmm
lucky enough. So how do we want to start? Do we
Okay.
want to take a look at the code and refactor it straight away, or we
I
want to introduce the new libraries that you look at?
I would probably start with the library, right? Or
Okay.
unless you want to do some other kind of refactoring.
No, I think we will land in other refactors. For example, we have a function that downloads a part, and that should be refactored because now that is only taking the first peer, and that is one of the problems. So we need to review our code to go in this more Q way of doing stuff, but we can start with the library itself. So
hmm
I don't know if you're already sharing the screen.
I am sharing your screen, so we are seeing the async channel documentation.
Okay, so Luciano found this library. Your fault. Eh,
I can blame the internet.
you can blame internet. I always blame internet. And basically, this is a simple library that gives you an asynchronous channel, bounded or unbounded, so with limited capacity or unlimited capacity. I think we can go unlimited because, for the example that we have 3, 4 parts, no more than those. So fine. And it gives you a sender and a receiver channel objects. They are on the same channel, one to send and one to receive, and then you can send to the channel and receive from the channel. Now you can send any kind of type.
I think so. Yeah, probably you need to define that in the channel. Like you cannot send different types in the same channel, but I think you can define a type and then send multiple messages with that type.
Yeah, because receive, for example, receive a message of type T. So here is sending an integer. But I don't see that is in any way declaring the type. So maybe he's inferring it the first time
Probably is
that
inferring
you
it from the
send
send.
something. Okay. So yes, maybe he's understanding it from the first send that you do, and then maybe he's forcing you to always have that one.
Mhm.
Okay. There was also some refactor around the way that we send and receive the protocol messages, right?
Oh yes, we discussed that last time, which we could use another crate called Tokyo Utils, which has utility that I think they're called codecs, and those utilities will allow you to basically deal with a binary protocol that is framed. So basically, where there's some kind of concept of packets of a certain size, and allows you to effectively split the stream of incoming bytes into frames, and then you can work with a full frame. And you can do that as decoding and encoding. So also, if you have Rust objects that you want to send on a byte stream, you can easily serialize them and send them over.
Okay, so I would start from the sync approach. So I will keep our bad way of sending binaries on the stream channel, bad but working. And then once that works, we can also try to refactor our ugly way of sending arrays of U8 through the
Mhm.
stream with Tokyo Utils codecs. Okay,
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure which one it's easier to do first. So
me
I
neither. So we start randomly
yeah.
with the one with the cat.
Yes.
We go for the cat. Okay, so cargo add a sync channel is the name of this rate.
Yes.
Feature standard is the only feature. Okay, there are no more features. Parking and so on. Okay. Now back to our code. We need just an unbounded channel, and we can create the unbounded channel inside the download command. It's the only one that we're going to refactor today. Maybe
Mhm.
we could refactor also the download of a single piece, but maybe not this time. So here, At this point, here is complaining that I'm not importing it.
Yeah, why is it complaining? Type
Cannot
annotation
infer
needed.
the type. Uh, Yeah.
Probably as soon as we start using it, it's gonna work.
Okay. Okay. How do
Otherwise, you can
we?
probably use the turbo fish before the closing, open and closing parentheses.
Let's try to wait for these to resolve the first time that we use S or R. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here, instead of downloading the pieces for real, we need to S is the one to send, correct? We need to send some kind of instructions to the channel. What do we need to be able to download? So we need to define a structure. I will define the structure containing the metadata info.
Mm-hmm.
So let's define another stuff that we should do one day is split this in files.
Yes.
Starts to get quite long. Where is the main download of a single piece? Okay, here is our main. So what I think we need is a struct. It's not a function, so I can create it above. So our structure is what we need to put in the worker queue, in this worker queue. Let's call it work for now. If you have a better name, we can change it later. So we need a metadata info. I will pass all the metadata info.
Mm-hmm.
So if we need SHA, if we need peers, and all those kind of stuff, they should be contained in the metadata info, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. Do you just clone it? I mean, do we keep cloning it over and over?
A reference is good. Okay, metadata info. Announce and the. To be honest, we just need the torrent info. We don't think we need announce.
No, I think the announce is just to discover the peers, and I think at that point
You
we
already have the peers.
yeah.
Okay. Let's say that we just pass the torrent info. And you were saying instead of cloning it, we could pass a reference, but then we have to deal with lifetimes, right?
Which is fun, yes. For some
And
definition
then
of fun.
and then every work, every unit of work should only download one piece of the file. So we need to specify which index of which
Mm-hmm.
piece do we want. And that's it. It is what we have to tell to the worker. With this torrent info, give me this piece number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, here is complaining that there is a missing
Also,
last
how
time.
do we need to
Get the
store the
data back.
connection as well? No, right?
We
Because
need
the
to
connection is
store
gonna
the
be part of the workers. They will
we
be
need to create the workers. The workers will contain the connection. The
mm-hmm.
worker will instantiate the connection, or the
Okay.
worker will create. Okay, we will get there. I mean, one worker, one connection is the theory. One
Yes.
worker, one peer. One worker per peer.
Yes.
So, but if we have one worker per peer, do we need all the torrent info? Maybe we just need a subset of it.
Maybe we just need the index.
But well,
Well, we need the hash as well,
we need the
right?
hash to check if it's the correct one. Let's look at what the download piece does, because I don't remember exactly what we are doing. We are downloading, we are passing all the meta info and the index that we want, okay, to this function. Cool. The function itself takes list of peers, takes the SHA, so we need the SHA, yes. It
Mm-hmm.
also needs to know the count of the total count, because when you download the last of the pieces, it will
Oh
be
yeah.
of a smaller length. So you need to know the peer to connect it to, the SHA of the piece that you want to download, and if he is the last one or not. So instead of passing all the meta info, we could just pass the peer directly
Mm-hmm.
and the SHA, and the
And the
if
peer
it's the
will
no,
be Again, the peer will be part of the worker already, so we just need the index and
Ah,
the
the peer
SHA.
will be part of the worker already. Yeah, we need the index and the SHA. We need the index of the SHA. We need the peers in the bit of code that spawns the workers.
And the workers, they will establish the connection first and then start to poll from the queue.
And
Right?
start to take from the list. Okay, so what was the SHA? Just a U8 of 20 bytes, I think.
I think so as well.
So SHA is an array of 0 U8 by 20. Yes. That is complaining
You don't
because
need the 0, you just need U8.
okay. This is the type, it's not the sorry. Also let me disable this guy because he's suggesting wrong code like all AI. This is the SHA to check it, and we were saying if it's the last one,
Oh yeah, good point.
that is a boolean, is last one. But we don't need the metadata anymore. So this is the
But do we need the length then as well? The piece
I think the
length?
length was let me look. What were we using in the download of the segment? Oh yeah, we need the length of the total length of the file
And
and
the
the
piece
single
length.
length of the piece. Okay. So,
I wonder if we can just pass current piece length instead. And we'll
yeah.
do the calculation before populating the queue.
Yes. We can. So, the length of this piece, the piece index, and the SHA that should match.
Sounds good.
Okay, and this is our unit of work that will go in the queue. Now, in this loop, instead of we need to create our work, and our work will be made of the piece index. Let me remember our case called it the same.
That's
We need to
nice.
compute the current length, but we can take the code from
Yeah, that if statement we had before,
yes,
if we can find it.
yes, here.
There it is.
This one needs the meta info, but the meta info were already passed by that function, so in theory we should have the meta info here. Yes. So if the is equal to if this piece is less than the count, and we have the count here, -1, then it's metadata info, otherwise is this one modulo that one. Okay. And going back to this one is the second parameter. And the SHA is again inside meta info dot info dot what was we had a function to get the SHAs.
Yeah, you can probably do .get or some wrap because we should be safe enough that that amount exists. That
The
amount of
SHAs are okay. They are here. Here we have all the SHAs. So this one we already have all the SHAs here. Okay, sorry. Let's do like this. Then this one is this variable dot len. Okay, and this variable is a vector of u20. Yeah, because it's a vector because we have multiple SHAs, not just one. So the SHA itself. What was the syntax? This one with the colon or
to do
what
what?
one?
To do the slice.
No, to get to set SHA in the variable because here we are creating the
Oh
object.
yes, yeah, like that.
Is this one the syntax, right?
Yes, yeah, like JavaScript or Python.
Okay. We need to await this guy. Yes.
Probably yes.
Let's look at the documentation again. Send await. Yeah, we have to await. So we have to await this guy.
Await
Not
doesn't need parentheses.
okay, but I need a question mark in case it fails. So
Yes.
we are creating the object telling in a loop, telling I want index the first time is 0 with this current length and the SHA will be this one, and so on. So we don't need to do any more of this. We have to think how the worker is passing us back the data, but that is another job for another time because we need the data
Mhm.
back from the worker somehow. But we can use another channel to get the data back from the worker, but we see.
Or the worker can also write to the file system. I don't know.
Yeah, here we were not writing to the file system. Here we were keeping in memory. We were
Oh,
keeping
that's
this
true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
mutable buffer. We were writing to here, and then we were flushing the buffer here in this line that now I'm commenting out. Otherwise,
Mhm.
Rust is unhappy to the output file at the end of all of it. But we had to wait for all of this to come back. Or we
Yes.
pass the file buffer as a mutable around to the wall. I don't think it's a very
I
good
don't
idea.
think it's possible because,
Yeah.
well, you could like wrap it in a mutex and do it that way.
Yeah, but at that point, let's have the worker put the data that they get back somewhere in another channel,
Mhm.
and this a piece of code will wait for the data to come back from the channel and write in the buffer at that point. But
Makes
I would
sense.
focus on now create the workers.
Mhm.
Okay, here it's complaining that we just create and we use S and we send it to it. Now,
Mhm.
how do we create one worker per peer at this point?
So what I would think we could do is that we can do a for loop per every peer, and then inside the loop we do a spawn, and then inside the spawn is basically a closure that describes what every worker should do. So it should do like an handshake first, and then it's gonna pull from the queue and do another endless loop to get the task, right?
Okay, here we have the get peers function that takes a meta info and give us back the peers list. Okay, so for each peer you were saying, so now let's redo this again. Get peers of our meta info
Hmm.
dot await.
Yes, because yeah, behind the scenes, this one is connecting to the announce URL,
Yeah.
making an HTTP request, getting the list of
So
peers,
you were saying, what is this guy giving us back that I don't remember? It's giving back a result. Okay, but with the question mark.
a vector of peers. So with the question mark, you should get the vector of peers clean.
Yeah, I think so.
So do a semicolon and then assign that to peers.
Yeah, it's a vector of peer. So now for each peer we need to spawn a worker.
Yes. Or
Each
just
map.
no, just do for peer of peers. Or sorry, for peer in peers. I did too much JavaScript today.
Yeah, your fault. So here we have a peer. What is Tokyo
Okay.
spawn?
Now it's Tokyo column spawn. And then inside of this you can do a closure with the
Is
yeah,
an
this
async closure.
I think yes, you need to put async before the pipes. And now what is the problem? Oh yeah, you probably need a semicolon after the spawn. Is it or not? Async closures are unstable. Interesting. I thought you could do this.
We need to create a fun async function.
Okay, no, you just do an async block probably. Just remove the pipe. Okay, that should work. Yeah, in Rust you can also have just an async block. Doesn't need to be a closure, which
Okay.
is basically yeah, gets executed immediately. Well, that's
Now we say that to keep our beautiful logic. So we keep the handshake. The handshake is giving us back Do we want to? No, this is the stream that we have to use for all the operation, but peers will be the peer, not
Hmm.
just us. So here we can have our mutable stream is an handshake, and here we use the peer itself.
Yes, perfect.
Now it is
Uh,
complaining that
you
peer
want
is not
a reference? I
visible.
think it just wants a reference.
Just what a reference. And the question.
Oh yeah, it's because yeah, you are in an async block, so that question mark.
Yeah, this is not going to work because it doesn't know the type. I can turbo fish it.
I don't think that an
Yeah.
async block can have.
I think any block in Rust can return something.
Yeah, but I'm just not sure if you can explicitly define the types here in an async block.
Okay.
So what if you
So
don't put
we
the
can't
question
use.
mark and just
We
use
can.
unwrap for now?
Here is complaining. Yeah, you say we just say that this is going to work.
For now, yeah. Then we'll come back to this and see if we can clean up.
Okay, this is not used, and is complaining. A sync block may outlive the current function, but it borrows meta info, which is
Okay,
always
so
by the function.
you need to do async space move, I think. Is that gonna work? Yes.
Value moved here in a previous iteration of the loop.
Which value?
Good question.
Is that an error or?
No, it doesn't seem an error. It's just.
Yeah,
But anyway, it's
it's
gone.
not red, right?
No, I mean he's complaining, but we see he's complaining. Um, okay, now we have our stream. We need to at this point read. So in a
Mm-hmm.
loop, do some receive from the channel until we
Yes.
don't receive something. Is there an example somewhere of this code? Oh, that is the only example they
Oh, you
have.
mean when it's empty to?
I mean, receive await is blocking for something to be there. There is a receive blocking. Receive a message from the channel using a blocking strategy. If the channel is empty, this method waits until there is a message. If the channel is closed, this method receive a message or returns an error if there are no more messages. Blocking. Rather than using asynchronous wait, like receive, this method will block the current thread. No, we don't want this one. We want this one. Receive a message from the channel. If the channel is empty, this method waits until the message is there. Okay, still waiting. If the channel is closed, this method receive a message or returns an error if there are no more messages.
Mm.
In a while, sorry, my keyboard switched.
Yeah, now it's gonna tell you use just loop.
Use loop. Thank you. Match. Receive await. Can I match an await?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I get my work, that will be of type work. If I get an error, I exit the loop.
Yeah, we just break. Is that gonna work? You can just put a to do for now here. To
It was
do
the
like
arrow or a colon.
it was arrow, I believe.
If we have work to do, we have to do work. The work that we have to do here is downloading the. This is intentionally okay. We have to go to our download and we have maybe to take all of this logic and put that in a function because otherwise it's going to be crazy to copy and paste all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from here on, we can put everything in a function.
Yes, and that's one of the parts that we said we wanted to refactor. But
Yeah,
for
one
now,
of the
let's just
function
move
we
it
need.
into a function.
Yes. Now I will think of the parameters. Wait. My God, why I can't write today? No, Codeine, stop it!
Kodei was like, I can write for you.
No, you have to stay quiet. Stay put in a corner. Damn it.
Didn't you disable it? Did it re-enable
Yeah, but
itself?
there are still these, my God, these highlights, and I clicked generate a function comment by error. So it generated a function comment, too much. So what are the parameters? The current piece length as a usize. Then we need the stream as a what?
Reference of
Yeah,
socket.
reference. What is the type?
Ooh, is there gonna need to be a mutable reference? So that might be tricky.
A TCP stream. This is a mutable reference. Remember, so if the mute goes before or after of a
After
TCP
the
name.
ampersand.
See, I was putting it in the right place. Then I. So what else do we need? This guy should return the same result with a box of the. No, it was not this one. Is an anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
Guy should return an anyhow, and also a vector of U8 if succeed. Okay, here he needs also the check SHA-1.
We just
Okay,
need
this
the
one
SHA as a.
yeah, this can become one variable that we just pass to it instead of just let it here for a moment. And this is while check SHA-1. Okay, we already use this name. I'm terrible with name. And tell me something, Luciano, if you want better names.
I like piece SHA-1 or SHA-1 piece.
There should be another parameter that we add here of type U8. What was the type? Just this.
Yes. Or you, well, no, I'm not sure. Needs to be of 20.
Yeah, the SHA is always 20.
Right. I'm just wondering if this needs to be a reference to that or can just be a clone. I don't know.
Right, with a reference. What else do we need? Here is still an FPY.
Consider the referencing. Okay, because we passed the reference, so you need to do the
This is
reference.
SHA-1. Okay, now we are returning the wrong type. Give us a second. We will be there.
You can put a to do in the end if you want.
Now we have to pass to this guy in order. The current piece length that we have here. Our stream as a reference. Should I put the mute also here or not?
You might need to put the mute there, yes, unless your variable is already a mutable reference.
My variables should be already a mutable reference. Complain?
You might need the mute there still.
Also, I need to learn to write download. That would be nice.
Because there is a semantic difference between just mute something and reference mute. Mute is like you have ownership in a mutable way, but reference mute is like you have a mutable pointer to that value, but you are borrowing it. Does that make sense?
Okay, so now we are passing. Okay. Await. This will be a vector of U8 and we return OK of this buffer. So this function is fine. Now we have to
Mhm.
make this fine. Here is still complaining of the index of the piece. Okay, so we need also to pass the index.
Oh yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, download a specific piece. We need to pass it. I don't know why it's not kicking in the linter and is letting me, but
Yeah,
I
should auto format.
yeah, I know how to formatting manually. That is not very auto, but at least it's formatting. We need to
If
pass this guy. Maybe there are still errors
Oh
somewhere.
yes, I think we did have an error in the match statement below.
Okay, yeah, will be there. The index of the bit is a variable that is passed to us, so we just forward it. Okay, so back to this guy up here. This guy up here is creating the buffer itself. This one, and this is the buffer that needs to be returned. Here is looping through it until it's not correct. It's computing the buffer. So here we just have to return an okay of this guy.
Makes sense.
Okay, going back to where we have this error, use of a moved value meta info that is moved because we moved
Okay,
it
where
here
is it moved?
in this loop.
Yes, I think that or receive we should probably do in the for loop before Tokyo spawn. We should create a new variable, call it, I don't know, or2 or something. No, no, leave that one for a second. Just
You don't want to create a stream here and then pass it, move it inside the spawned function.
no, what I want to do is that or.receive, you cannot
Yeah,
call it multiple times because you are effectively moving the ownership, but you can clone it because I saw that it was built in such a way that you can just clone it. So if you call it, yeah, local or whatever, you can just do or.clone, and then if you just use local or, I think you should not have that problem anymore.
here.
Yes, and then the other thing is the line 447 and 450 is a fat arrow. So put the equal there. Okay, is it happy now?
Here, let's try to just download and dropping it on the ground the downloaded stuff. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we will use this one, download raw. Download raw
You'll need to
of
pass all the parameter.
the index is work dot index. Okay, the one is the length that is still the work current length. The next one is the stream as a reference to a mutable stream. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Now I'm
and
curious
the
what
last
happened
one
with
is
that one in terms of ownership, but we'll see.
and the last one is the chat to check it. That is check SHA. No, sorry, it's not in the worker. Work dot SHA. Yeah. Now he's complaining that
Yeah, I did expect that. Probably the stream is one, but there might be a few more.
type mismatch. Okay, so we do something like this. I know what to do,
Oh yeah, okay.
and we close it. So we fix the types. Lock around. Type annotation needed. Type
Oh,
annotation.
interesting. Okay, so when we create the S and OR, the send and receive ends, we probably need to do the turbo fish there.
Receiver work. Okay.
Or if you try to put the annotation there, yes.
Receiver is imported. We auto imported it. Yeah, async channel receiver here. Okay, cool. And the work is our type. Back to it. Now, work SHA is a reference. It's not a.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this one is spawning one of these blocks per loop, one per peer. In theory, is creating the connection and is getting a clone to the receive channel, the way to receive from the channel. Here we can add a println with that buffer equal to, and our buffer at this point is okay, we have to await without and unwrap.
Mm-hmm.
Now buffer is a vector of u8. How do we print as a string? There is a string on the vector. Yeah, vector of u8 can be
Well, you need to pass
used.
the format string as well as a first argument. And they probably don't need the toString, I would imagine. Let's see. Or you
Does a
do.
vector of
Yes.
u8 doesn't implement the display. So I'm going to
But the display is the toString.
so it doesn't have buffer doesn't have a toString.
Okay, but if you do in the format string, you put column question mark. Like, does it implement debug? Not exclamation, but question.
Sorry.
Okay, that seems happy with.
Okay, we should not write to the file, but we should be able to see on the console something, right?
Fingers crossed.
Download in temp of the torrent sample file. What is happening here?
Are we deadlocking already?
I don't know. My fan just started. Are we sending work to it?
Oh, okay. It was just compiling. Was it?
Yeah, I was compiling. Value used after move here, because we are moving meta info
Mm,
here to perform the handshake.
that's true. Okay, so we probably need to clone that one as well. Which is, I guess, can we clone a reference?
Can we clone to all meta info? There are not a lot of data in it. We
Yeah, let's
implemented all
clone
the
it.
clonable stuff. Maybe not, but I think it's just an annotation in
Oh
the
yeah, you
string.
can easily add the annotation, yes.
It's not a type that has very strange.
Oh, we have Kali Asha that is now following us. Thank you very much. How are you doing today?
Clone here, and we need to add the clone here. And I think it's all because usize the string, usize value is clonable. I hope so.
Yes.
Because it's not something that we handle value because it's from the main code library. Now,
It's still complaining
using,
places.
I'm still using meta info instead of local meta info. So now we cloned the receiver, we cloned the meta info. We are passing them. We should not have these errors anymore. Let's see what it thinks. This output is not used, but it does nothing because we are
Mm,
sending or we are creating the workers. Do we need to await them in any way when we create
that's a
them?
good point. Do we need to do a join handle? I think the
Yeah.
spawn will return something, and then we probably need to do a join handle at the end.
Okay. So workers is equal to peers dot map.
You can just probably create a vec.
Oh well, this is creating a vec. No, a vector of whatever is.
No, but then what I was thinking is that where you do the spawn, you just push the result of that spawn into workers.
Yeah, is what I want to do.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was probably thinking to do it in a more procedural way, but that's fine.
This way, this I have to iter. No,
Probably
peers is
yes.
a vector. Yeah, I have to iter. I forgot to iter. And peers argument. What is it? Peers doesn't live long enough. Borrowed values don't live long enough. Okay, back to do in more the procedural way.
Yeah, let's just do a
This
vec
is
of exclamation
vector.
mark.
Yeah, and
Now
here
there you collect, call it handle or whatever. And then yeah, workers dot push. Oh yeah, probably you need to make it mutable as well.
So at the end of all of this, the way this will be of type vector of join handle. Now we put all the work into the stuff. And how do we wait for all of them? It will be
Uh,
Tokyo join.
yes, of that
And
vector.
what does it takes the vector?
I
Let me
think so.
just, the semicolon that I always forget. Now
No.
it's complaining that you have to await this.
Yes, probably. Is it?
Late future is not implemented.
Wait.
Maybe the on a new synchronous task, returning join handle for it.
Oh yeah, is that the same thing we did last time? Where join is it only futures? You don't need to spawn.
Tokyo spawn as okay, socket, list accept. Tokyo spawn sync move. And then how do you join after that?
Yeah, I'm looking for an example as well.
Yeah.
This is where we needed Tommaso in the chat.
Tokyo join do async stuff with an async function. But we didn't define an async function, we defined an async block with spawn. It is slightly
So
different.
what if we remove spawn and we just leave the async blocks?
Just like this.
Mm-hmm. Is that gonna
This
work?
will be this will be a vector of future.
Yes.
And then here is complaining that a vector of a sync block is not a future.
Seriously.
We try to compile. No, same error. Method cannot be called to unsatisfy the trait bounds. Doesn't satisfy future. So let me put the spawn back.
So there should be join all.
As a macro, as a what? There is a try join and a join. Join all is on top of what?
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. So if we go back to the spawn, if you can Control Z all the way through.
Here, spawn.
Okay. So at the end, rather than using join,
So
what you
yeah,
can
instead of
do,
joining,
yeah, you can do a for loop over the handles. So for handle in handles or whatever in works, whatever.
workers. Mhm.
Then yeah, whatever you want to call it, curly brace. You can say handle dot await dot unwrap. I think.
Yeah, but this way is not waiting for the first of the workers and the other one are doing nothing.
No, I think they're still making progress in the background because they're spawned in their own tasks. But this will check the first one and then wait for the first one to finish and move on to check the second one only when the first one is finished. But it's not blocking the second one from doing progress.
Ah, okay, okay. So it's different from other languages.
Ooh, okay, we had a failure, but
We had a not yet implemented.
oh, there is a
Of,
to do left somewhere.
oh yeah, yeah. Okay, but we had something out. We have a couple of to-dos. We have this one because we don't know what to give back.
Mm-hmm.
In case of error, in theory, we should break the loop and we can return nothing here. Or is it happy if I return nothing at all?
I think that's implicit. Hey, hello, Ivan, who is following us. Thank you very
So in
much.
case of error, these workers end. In case of any error.
In case of
No,
any
the
error,
channel,
yes.
the channel. In case of any, but even in this unwrap, in case of any error, this thread is going to
I actually don't know what
panic.
happens if a task panics, so that could be interesting to see.
Okay. So, but going back to our code at this point, they are doing something. This one is doing something. The other ones,
Is it?
with
Is
the software never ends because they are waiting for messages on the queues. But there are not any
right,
messages.
right. So didn't we see that if you poll from the async channel and there is no message? Oh no, 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 no. That's
It's
only
waiting.
it's only if they close the connection on the other side.
Oh, we should close the no, but we have work. We are waiting for them to do their work. How do we know that they are done with their work?
We don't. I wonder if there is a way to put like a timeout.
Yeah, but the timeout is not very good way.
Yeah, it's
I
not
mean,
very
here
predictable.
instead of printing, they should give us the data back on a channel. When we have the data back on the channel, we should, and when we have all the data back on the channel, at that point we know that they are done.
And we can
But
close the
and we can
center.
close S and R. I mean, what do we need to close?
Okay,
S
there are
R or the local R?
yes, there are a few ways we can do this. So there is a thing called one shot channel that allows you to only pass one message. So that could be like an exit signal. So everyone
Yeah,
is
but
listening to that one shot channel,
mhm,
every worker. And then from the outside, what we do is like when we received all the pieces, we just put the one shot message there. And then every worker at that point is just going to exit.
okay. Isn't a way to close this local R? If we close this local R, we're going into this branch and the worker is exiting.
I think if you close or, yes, that's what should happen.
But we have to close R or the clone.
I think the clone is the same, is entirely just a reference. So I think if you close or, you're also closing all the clones.
Okay. So now, do we want to create another unchanneled unbound to get the data back?
Yes, we should. Now, is it gonna be an async channel or it can be just something else?
And the worker can complete in any order in theory.
Oh yeah, and in the channel you also should receive the index, right?
In the
Not just,
channel, we have to define the payload of that channel.
but it needs to be a combination of data and index.
Yeah. So we need another struct that is our how I called it down there. Already forgot what I called it. Where I created it? Oh, data back. Let's call the type data back.
I like it. Nickelback.
Data back. And the data back are made of a vector of U8 of
hmm
yeah, our buffer. It is a back of U8. We don't know the size. Maybe the size as a U size.
Well, the size is gonna be part of the vector, right? It's the len of the vector.
Oh yeah, you're right. We don't need this. And the piece index. So we need
Yes.
to know which piece are we talking of. And in theory, it could be handy to have the offset from the beginning of the file as a usize. I mean, in theory, we can compute this from the index because we have the size of the piece and the piece index. So multiplying the two of them together, we can have an idea where to write in the file.
I'm
But
just
maybe
wondering if from inside a worker we have that information. Do we?
good question. Again, we are going sequentially, so we are just incrementing. Now let's give back the index. We can do the math outside. So anyway, we have this data back. This data back, do we need to clone it again to pass it to local send data back equal to
Mhm.
s data back dot clone, because everyone needs its own one, correct?
Yes, I'm just thinking that maybe there is a different kind of channel. Let me check.
Okay, I'm doing this in the meantime. If you find a better one, we can change it. And here we are sending a data back type with payload equal to buffer and our piece index that is complaining. Because it's work piece index.
Mm.
Okay, we don't print the buffer anymore. And now it's complaining that I'm not awaiting it.
Yeah, let's just do like that. I think we might simplify it a little bit if we use a MPSC channel, multiple producer, single consumer. But honestly, I think it should be the
Okay.
same. It's just that maybe it's a bit more performant.
Okay, now we should have the data back in this channel. And if we use this R data back to read, and if we use this here, we should be able to read back our messages. Dot
But should we do
receive.
that in a loop as well?
Yeah, we should do this in a loop until we have all the pieces back. So do this in a loop, and again we can have a match. Now he's super unhappy. Well, I don't know what I did to make him this sad. I really made him sad somehow. Gain the weight.
Oh, this is the problem. Oh, is that the match statement? Proc
Much
macro
macro
file.
panic and unsupported macro punctuation character. Oh God.
Oh,
What
you
is
have
this?
parentheses on the loop. You don't need a parenthesis, I think.
Yeah, sorry. It's a
I ju-
macro loop.
That's weird. I didn't expect that.
Macro loop is a macro. There is no exclamation mark. I was not aware.
Exactly. Yeah. Sounds weird.
Oh well, okay. If I have an okay and I have my data, I will do something. Otherwise, if I have an error, I don't care and I just want to go on. Our data is of type databack, and here I can do my logic of taking my data buffer. Here I have to know my data buffer length, that is on the vector, like you said,
Mhm.
and the start pointer is based on my piece index that is in data, so it's data dot piece index and multiplied by metadata info piece length. In theory, this is enough right inside the file buffer. The file buffer is defined up here. Why I don't have it anymore? Because I commented. Yeah. Okay, so the file buffer is up here. Here, when I get the data back from the worker, I write it in the file buffer and I loop. Here we
Mhm.
should find the exit condition from this loop, and the exit condition is from this loop is that let mute is done equals 0. Is horrible to do like this. Probably we should find a better way, but piece.
I wonder, can we just check the length of that sender channel or not?
Where we know the why the piece is done less
Does it,
than.
what I'm trying to say is that if that async channel has a length of the number of tasks, like if it's 0, we process all the jobs basically.
If it's empty. I mean, if you say if s what is that? Is we are sending to S, right?
Let's see if
We
S
say
has a property like length or something.
sa len, where is len? What is documented? Len retards the number of messages in the channel. Okay. Yeah, but when the message is removed from the channel, it's not already downloaded.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yes. So we
The
would
worker
have a
is taking the message away, but you can't exit at that point. You have to exit also because it can fail. So I think it's
yes.
safer to say while the number of pieces done is less than the piece count, and
Yes,
every
that's
time we also it's better to implement this. Well, it doesn't care, but after you already copied in the slice,
mm-hmm.
and at this point we can also write the file. Uh, I mean, we did a very bad error handling because we are unwrapping in here.
Like crazy, yes.
Yeah, so our error handling is terrible. But in theory, we have all the pieces in place.
Mm-hmm.
We have to close the channel also. Here we have to close everything, all the channels, because we are done with everything.
I think if you just close the receiving end, the or, if you do or dot close or something like that.
Here is going to wait and receive. Then is going to not receive anymore because we have all the pieces. Okay. So you say that R is the only one that needs to be closed.
That's my guess. Let's see if
See if it's true. Now, what is happening? Probably we need to add some debugging. Okay.
didn't do anything.
He's doing his job, but he's not telling us that the job is done. The file exists. Let me remove it. I'm not sure if it was still there from last time. Okay. We don't have the file anymore. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That
Let's
sounds good.
download it. We have a file. And if we open it, what do we have?
Oh, look at that.
We
That
downloaded it.
seems like
Now,
a whole file.
if we call CodeCrafter test previous and we get the cat GIF, is going to pass this time. Remember that when we were downloading
Mm-hmm.
codercat.gif or GIF, log file version 4 was found, but this version of Cargo doesn't support this log file. What the fuck
What?
I did?
Did you update your Rust?
Maybe should I like I
You
should
can probably remove the cargo lock. It will make your build a little bit slower, but builds will be snappy for sure.
or all Rust builds are super snappy. No, log file version 4 was found.
Mm. This seems like something we should Google, like CodeCrafters and that error.
I still have a lock version 4. I removed it. Let's try again to run the tests. No, build failed. Fuck.
Log
Hey.
file version. Where do we specify that version for?
Version 4 is in the cargo lock, probably. Yeah, version 4 here.
Mm.
It was version 3. Yes. I can change this manually, but I don't think it's correct.
Quick thing: if you close your editor, delete the cargo file, the cargo lock, and then try again. I know this is not ideal because your editor will try to recreate it in the background.
Yeah. So my Rust is too new for CodeCrafters.
Now it's doing stuff. That's weird.
For once in a lifetime, I have a version that is too new. Normally, it's the other way around with me.
So, but also when you run CodeCrafters test, it's not using your local Rust. It's using some other
Suspecting
kind.
to use the remote. Yeah, but maybe it's uploading all the files in my local disk to remote and building remotely.
Mm.
Anyway, what I wanted to see, I was saying, is see if coder cat.gif was downloaded without timeout. Now that we spread the
Mhm.
load across all the peers that we have. If
Yes.
instead it was timeouting because there was only one peer and it wanted some more fancy way of handling the same stream. Yeah, no, I didn't saw what was the.
So far, so good.
Okay. No, this is congratulation.gif. This one was passing last time. I hope he's also passing this time. I hope he's also passing this time. Okay, timeout. Fuck. Mm, went worse than last time.
Last time, congratulations was working.
Yeah, last time congratulation was working. Last time was the codercat.gif was not working.
Mm.
And okay, now it's downloading it's working.gif. There is another one that I didn't saw before. And I have the feeling that it's going to time out again. Yes.
Yeah, it looks like they occasionally get stuck.
Let me see if I can get the coder cat. I'm just curious.
It did work before, right?
Yeah, with the old code was working.
Was the one above the one that just failed in the previous test?
Congratulations again. Okay, so we are getting random. Okay, but why is it timeouting? In theory, our code should be slightly better. So let's do this. I will git stash. What is the time? If I time this guy, what time do I have? Is also including the build here, so I have to run it a second time to exclude the build time because now the
Mm.
fun is starting, so it was building. So if I don't build 03, 04, 04, 04, 0426, okay, is around this amount, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now if I stash, we should go to the previous version, the one with the AGD code sequential. Now it was building. No, it's faster. The new version is faster.
I wonder if there is some other issue, like some kind of deadlock, or I don't know, maybe the peers, the way that CodeCrafter implemented them, they can have, I don't know, some occasional issues, and we'll need to write code that manage that. But
Oh,
maybe
well,
we end up in some kind of deadlock in that case.
in any case, this code is faster than this code from 1 second to a 04. So
Hmm.
the one with multiple peers is faster, even if we don't pass the CodeCrafter test. But we already passed them the last time. So for the sake of CodeCrafter, we are passing the tests and we are able to download the sample torrent. Okay,
Hmm.
now I have again problem with the version. Okay. Anyway, back to us.
Do we
I
want
open again.
to commit and call it a day? Because
Yes, I
this
think
seems
so.
like a longer investigation.
Yes. So what I have here, github comma point circle. It works with even better sync handling. Now I'm pushing to CodeCrafter that we complain a lot,
Hmm.
probably because of cargo or not. Who knows? Then I will also push to our. I'm stopping this. GitHub. Yes, git push to GitHub. Yes, in theory, this should be up on our GitHub repository that you pasted multiple times everywhere. I will also push to. Oh, okay, CodeCrafter, the push was done. It was just running his own stuff. Nice. So what we did today, we refactored how we handle the connection to the peers, connecting with workers, having channels to communicate back and forth between the main thread and the free thread, free thread,
Mhm.
n threads, one per worker, one per peer. And that was what we did. I think next time, if we want to go on with this, we have to refactor the protocol. This time we just copy and pasted the horrible protocol in its own function.
Yes,
But this way we also narrow it down what we have to rewrite next time. Oh, I left some commented code, but well, not a big
that's
problem.
probably fine for now.
Yes. Now, it was hanging up on CodeCrafter. I don't know if we have to close more channels, but it's an investigation we can do offline. What do you
Yeah,
think?
definitely. Yeah, I'm not convinced because I mean, when we run it just on our own file, it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, you
Yeah,
know
it's
what?
true
What
that it's only 3 peers. It's not a lot of peers. It's only 3. But we see.
we should try to do an experiment next time to download, I don't know, the Ubuntu image or something like that.
For that one, we also need to refactor the protocol and take the bit field in account, because here we know that all the peers have all the pieces.
That's true.
But in
And
reality, that is not true.
and now I wonder if that's maybe the reason why it's getting stuck. Because I wonder, do they simulate maybe that not all the peers have all the pieces?
We never checked it with the last version. We were only connecting to the first peer, and it was giving us everything. So
Mm.
I don't think so. I mean, we can go on and make this more real and try to download a real torrent next time.
Yes, that's fair.
Hmm? Okay, keep it for the next stream.
Okay, so let's wrap it up. Cool. Okay, let's wrap it up with this screen. So sorry
Okay.
if it looks terrible from a UI perspective, but yeah, this is the end of our stream for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, thank you for being with us. We probably will continue a bit more, as Roberto was saying, in the next one. But meanwhile, if you are checking us out from YouTube, so you are in the future, hello from the past, you can probably see all the other recording here in our YouTube channel. We have a playlist, so you can check out all the previous episodes and maybe also the future ones. So we generally stream every Monday, 6 p.m. GMT. So we'll see you next Monday. But because we're close to Christmas and it's easily gonna disrupt our schedule, I imagine. We
Yeah.
don't know exactly, so please connect with us on the social channels that you can find either on Twitch or on YouTube to stay up to date for when we go live next. So thank you so much, and we'll see
And
you.
remember to do your Advent of Code.
Oh yes, Roberto is the Advent of God professor, so don't upset him.
No, no, I'm just a poor idiot that is roaming around. Anyway, see
Okay,
you.
bye bye.